Welcome to Larp Academia. Today we're going to talk about what you get as a level 4 healer. But before we get into that, I need to go over something with you. At level 1, you got these amazing abilities that were a core of a healer. At level 2, you got abilities that basically synergized with Resurrect. And at level 3, you got Resurrect. So you're seeing a pattern here. There are some core abilities that you got at level 1 through 3, and that kind of stops now. Now is when you really get into a bunch of options that you're able to take as a healer. Before, your options were, do I take Hold Person or Astral Intervention? And I mean, tough decision. They're the same school and kind of do the same thing, and they're both chargeable. So there's not too much to go over there. However, at level 4 and on is when you truly start to dictate how you make your healer unique from all the other healers out there. Because any healer will have Resurrect, Greater Release, Heal, and Release. And they'll experience Greater Release as well as having Innate and some other stuff. But really, you now get to go into how your healer is special and what truly makes you better than all the other healers. And the first option that you get to personalize your healer is Blessing Against Harm. Now, Blessing Against Harm is, I'm resistant to yes. Why do I say yes? Because it says you're resistant to the next death, state, and then it gives up saying negative effect. So anything that would be bad to you or would affect you in a negative light is you are resistant to. Even a shove you're resistant to. And yes, it does trigger off of the first thing that happens, like normal resistances do. You can't say, oh, well, a shove's really not that negative. Something's being done to you that you are not willing to take. If someone touched you, you wouldn't willingly say, no, I want to be shoved. So you're pushed back. And please do not gray area that. I know you can still gray area that with that description, but Blessing Against Harm is just resistant to yes. Very simple and straightforward. It is only green because it is once per refresh. It's powerful, but it's an option that you can take or choose not to take. Due to the once per refresh, it doesn't make it blue or purple, but it's not a bad choice. An amazing option that most healers take is Circle of Protection. Now, why do most healers take it? Well, Circle of Protection is an enchantment. I know you can't have an enchantment on you, which honestly isn't that too hard as a healer. Most other people get enchantments anyway. So you don't have an enchantment on you. You can cast Circle of Protection by saying Circle of Protection 3 times, Circle of Protection, Circle of Protection, Circle of Protection, and it makes you insubstantial. Now, that may seem like, oh, Wizzo, that's not that good. Well, if you remember our Druid at level 2, they got an ability kind of like this, which was Stone Form. They were able to make themselves frozen, take themselves out, and do it about any time. Yours is insubstantial. If you are taken out through tracking or something else, it does get rid of your Circle of Protection. However, Circle of Protection is chargeable, which is why it's so good. Well, part of the reason. Part of the reason why Stone Form was so good is because it was charge times 3. Now, Circle of Protection is not charge times 3. Unfortunately, I know we can't have everything be overpowered. It is charge times 10, which, hey, you have innate for. So if you don't take an option at level 6, then you can just innate that Circle of Protection back, which is awesome. And beyond this, you think that, oh, Circle of Protection is just a get out of jail free card. Well, yeah, sure, it could be. Oh, but there is so much more. Normally, when someone is insubstantial, you can't affect them with a heal. The scout, I stepped in the shadows. All right, I'll heal you. I can't. Your spell doesn't say you can affect the person who is insubstantial. So, Circle of Protection gets around that. Circle of Protection is a self-enchant. However, you can affect up to 5 other people. So if you have 5 people touching you, and you say Circle of Protection, Circle of Protection, Circle of Protection, then they are all insubstantial, even if they have enchantments. This does not apply to their enchantment slot. It is a self-enchantment. So they could be maxed out on their enchantments, having their normal one, or augmented to have something else with a druid, and they can still go insubstantial. Beyond this, you are able to affect others in Circle of Protection who are insubstantial as if they are not. That means if someone is on the mid lines or front lines and they're legged and you don't think you can get to them, you can say circle protection, circle protection, circle protection. You're both insubstantial and you can start healing that person. So this provides an extra barrier of safety in order for you to get other things off. You can charge in this state, which, I mean, you're going to charge a lot as a healer anyway. You can heal other people, you can release other people, you can mend their equipment. Is why circle protection is such a good option. An odd one for you. It's per life, not unlimited, which is kind of weird for a healer. It is, however, interesting. By the grace of the divine, thou art healed. It's greater heal. You get greater heal. Now, you would have to say that in cant 5 times. By the grace of the divine, thou art healed. And as you can probably tell, the main reason why you would take this spell is because it is fun to say. You're a reverend preacher. By the grace of the divine, thou art healed. And after saying it 5 times, you restore all, well, you take away all wounds. You heal them to the max, which normally doesn't do anything for a person. Just, if I take another wound, I'm dead, so a heal works. But if you use it on monsters, they come back, hey, I have 14 points of natural armor, I need to be healed. You go as a healer, wait, what? That'll take forever. So instead, you go into preacher mode and just go, son, by the grace! And you get the idea. You restore all the armor, and it's mainly useful for healing natural armor on monsters. There is another way that is practical in standard games, though. You see, normally, heal is a spirit magic. Resurrect is a spirit magic. Pretty much all the awesome things that you have are spirit magic. And there is one state that stops spirit magic, and that is cursed. So if someone comes up to you and they're cursed, I mean, you can greater release and heal. Or you could use your per life and be a preacher in order to heal them. The reason why this works is because greater heal ignores all states. It says, yeah, you're cursed. I don't care. You can't be immune to me. So then you just go and you heal them. And greater heal is good for this. Now, it's not necessary because you should have greater release on tap because it's chargeable, but it is an option for you to have in case those situations come up and you just need to expedite the process and make them go out quicker. And I mean, come on, of course, you love to be a preacher. You'd want to just embrace that healer side and go, by the grace! We're done with that. We're done with that. We are moving on to Imbue Shield. Now, Harden's pretty good. You know, Harden, it stops the shield from being destroyed. However, most people warriors who really want Harden have it. Barbarians who really want Harden can't get it. So, you're kind of at an impasse with your normal Harden. Imbue Shield does everything that Harden does, but better. It works on spell balls and verbals, so someone can't destroy it with a fireball. Okay, that's wonderful. Someone can't pyrotechnics their shield. Yeah, that's great. But Imbue Shield makes it so that it also negates engulfing effects. So if that warrior goes and blocks an entangle, they aren't stopped. If a warrior goes and blocks an ice ball, they aren't frozen. They just say Imbue Shield, and Imbue Shield is very nice. Now, the problem is that it comes so late. Preferably it'd be a 2nd or 3rd level enchantment, and most people really just already have Harden. So if you think about it, the class that most needs Harden to protect them from their shields being broken, warriors have a way of doing it, and they also have an ability to get rid of engulfing effects like Entangle or Ice Ball, or at least reduce them to 10 seconds. Barbarians can't get Imbue Shield. There's the problem with it, and why it's not taken so much, and why it should really be a 2nd or 3rd level spell, is because of the need for it. There is no real need that you're just like, oh, I need this enchantment so much, as other people would want other enchantments like Stone Skin or Gift of Air or those other ones, or even some that you can give as a healer. Imbue Shield is just an upgraded Harden, and for most people, they don't really care. They just don't really care because Imbue Shield isn't that good, and it's not that much of an upgrade for it being a 4th level spell. And most healers, spending a 4th level spell on just a small upgrade from Harden, it's not worth it for most healers. And just most don't get Imbue Shield because there are better enchantments. Speaking of a better enchantment, druids have a thing called Gift of Air. Gift of Air makes it so that, if you're hit by a projectile or whatever else. We're going to focus on the projectile part. You go in substantial and you're fine. But there is a problem with Gift of Air. Gift of Air makes it so that you can't use a shield or weapon. So you can't be like, warrior, I enchant thee with Gift of Air. He's like, all right, I go out in armor, guys? And then he ends up getting killed and not being able to do anything because he doesn't have a shield or weapon. Pro Projectiles, or Protection from Projectiles, takes care of that. Protection from Projectiles can be placed on anyone. You could place it on a warrior. There are some problems with that, though. Protection from Projectiles protects the bearer from wounds or any negative effects from projectiles, and this includes siege weapons. It's the only way to protect someone from a siege weapon. So if you see an enemy team fire a bolt from a trebuchet or something, that person with pro projectiles can go up and just go, no. Or they could go up and go, booty, and just bump it. I have booty bumped a few arrows and a few things in my past as a wizard too. But Pro Projectiles is a versatile enchantment since you can enchant it onto anyone. The only problem with Pro Projectiles, and why I hesitate to put it on a warrior, is that since it protects the bearer, it doesn't protect the equipment. So if I'm wearing 2 points of armor and an arrow hits me, no, it breaks the armor. It doesn't affect your equipment. If, however, a pinning arrow hits the armor, Pro Projectiles. I mean, your armor is broken, unless you have ancestral armor, but you are not under the negative, unless you have ancestral armor, and that's if you have a point. You, however, are not under a negative effect. You're not under that stopped effect, which is why Pro Projectiles is pretty nice, even on a warrior. I would put it on assassins, people who don't have shields or a lot of armor, and it is a great enchantment to have. Now, this is if you take it in conjunction with a 6th level healer ability, and we'll get into that later. There's a reason why healers are able to have a longer burning flame instead of one that just burns bright and gets snuffed out. Your enchantments should all be persisted, and if Pro is persisted, then it will be worth it, and you'll have someone who's maybe for the entire game just immune to projectiles. And this includes also throwies, javelins, and any form of thrown thing or shot projectile at a person, which is pretty great. For your meta magic for this level, of course you get a meta magic. You get Swift, and oh my goodness, is Swift good. Now we go over what Swift is and the basics of magic, yada yada. But why it's so good for you is that, if you noticed, heal is a paragraph. It's way too big. It is way too big. And some spells, by the grace of the divine, are charged times 5. That's why Swift is amazing. It just cuts it down like that. So instead of trying to heal someone on the front lines, you could just say, go down, Swift, what lot of health heal thee? And then they're up, which is wonderful. If you are legged, and you and people are around you, you can just tuck your sword into the shield, Swift, what lot of health heal thee? And run away, which can save your life and can end up saving another person's life, which is the whole point of healer. You want to help support your team in some way. So Swift is amazing as a healer. I don't know any healer that doesn't take Swift, and if they don't, I really have to question why. This is one of those, this is a universal thing that you should take. I know what I said earlier. Throw that out the window for this meta magic. You should take Swift, and you could debatably take 2. Now, your last ability at level 4 is teleportation. We've covered teleportation a lot, and teleportation isn't that great for you. Why? Well, it's a good get out of jail free card for a wizard, and wizards usually take it. They can send other people. Teleport is only good if you are trying to plan beforehand that, oh, I'm going to send a person out there, and I'm going to make it so that the barbarian bomb goes off. But for yourself, it's not very useful. You have circle of protection. You have other people in front of you. I mean, if teleport happens, if you have to Swift to teleport, it's probably not going to work, and it's just not a good option. Why I say it's not going to work is because everyone's targeting you. You're not light on your feet to get away. You're not dodging and everything like a wizard might be. You're not anticipating that there's so many seconds in between. It's a panic button for you, and a better panic button is circle of protection. Now, teleport is per life, but you want to spend that Swift on other things. So really, is teleport worth it? No, not very much. You would have to plan specific scenarios in order to make teleport worth it. And even then, you might only use it a few times a game. Even if you die like 7 times, you might only use it twice. So it's not that good of a spell for you. I'm sorry, it's not great. And that is what you get for level 4 as a healer. Now, I know there's no ridiculously overpowered abilities, not a wave of purple and blue magics for you to choose from. This is when you start to diversify your list. This is when you start to realize there's not just a set of must-takes. Now I can make my own healer. I can make myself special. And this is how you can do it from level 4 on. Now I'd love to hear in your comments, what is your favorite spell? What do you like to take as a level 4 healer? Do you think that Imbue Shield is a lot more powerful and a lot better? Do you think that more healers use Imbue Shield? That's another important part. And do you want to be a preacher by saying, by the grace of the divine thou art healed? And do you, of course, say it in that way, because why wouldn't you? That's the only way to say it. Until next time, keep LARPing.